right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the next segment, Wade Asia Women in Design, to commence. For this session, we have assembled, because you deserve only and only the best, we bring to you only and only the best. Influential women from architecture, design, and allied industries who are reshaping the design landscape. Let's give it up for Ms. Preeti Singh, Additional Director General, NAREDCO, that is National Real Estate Development Council under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. She's the founder of NAREDCO Mahi, the women's wing of NAREDCO, and she's been recently awarded as a Women Leader in Excellence by the Times of India Group, presented by the one and only Vidya Balan. Of course, the tradition at Wade Asia is we call in the leader with the toughest task, when you have to ensure everybody remains absolutely cordial. And our remaining leaders we'd like to call of interior designer Shilpi Sonar, the founder creations and ex-chairperson IEEE Raipur Center. Shilpi ji, please come on up. Ms. Shilpi Barman Sonar, a highly regarded interior designer with over 15 years of experience, has served as the chairperson of IIID Raipur Center. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your presence and your time. Our next leader we'd like to call on stage is architect Sabeena, Khanna, founding principal, Studio K.I.A, Delhi, NCR. Can we have Ms. Sabeena on stage with us? So she's the creative head of Studio K.I.A. Sabeena is practicing architect for over 35 years and believes in creating spaces that connect context and aesthetic. 35 years of working. Ma'am, did you start when you were born? Because you don't look over 35. Welcome back. Thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Calling in our next leader, we have architect Deepa Agarwal, the principal architect of Deepa Agarwal Architects based in Kolkata. Deepa is an accomplished architect who's moved to Kolkata and established Deepa Agarwal Architects in 2007. She's a versatile designer who's worked on projects in all genres and scales. Thank you, Ms. Deepa, for your time. Thank you so much for your presence. Next, we'd like to call on stage Ms. Arpita Roy Luthra, the head of marketing BNP Everest Industries. A big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. You had amazing lunch. You told me. So head of marketing at Everest Industries, Ms. Arpita Roy Luthra is a marketing leader with over 20 years of experience in executing successful marketing strategies, envisioning memorable brands, and just about everything in between. Thank you so much. Our next leader we'd like to call on stage is Ms. Yukti Nagpal, the director, Gulshan Homes. Do we have Ms. Yukti on stage? Thank you so much, Yukti ji. She's a leader in urban luxury and sustainable nature-embedded living. The new generation artist come maven in the force to reckon with. Wow, okay. So women warriors, we can see. Leader, stage is all yours. The crowd awaits. Thank you so much. Stage is all yours. Over to you, Ms. Preeti.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Wade Asia, especially the founder of this forum. I see a lot of amazing, inspirational leaders, not only from the architecture industry, but from the construction industry. I am privileged to be moderating this session today, and I'm sure the knowledge and the inspiration of our esteemed panelists is going to enlighten the audience members, and there are going to be a lot of takeaways out of this panel discussion. And to start up this session, as we've just started this immediately after the lunch, in the typical style of the MC, I would request everybody to have a huge round of applause for all of us before starting this session, because we have taken out this precious time, and I personally believe that time is money in nowadays. It is easy to donate money, but it is not easy to give time. So out of our busy schedule, we have taken out this time. All our esteemed panelists were here in the morning, and we were discussing a lot that what we want to give out of this panel. The theme for the panel is Women in Design. To set the context, I would like to share a couple of highlights of our candid interaction, what we had in the lounge. that the panel you see is not just the women in architects or the construction or the corpcom or the next generation of the builder developers, but this is the panel of a women fighter, soldier, multitasker, a successful professional. So as we are already late by almost 2 hours without taking much of the time to set up the context, I would like to start with my first panelist, Sabeena Khanna ji, the director. Yeah, she actually asked me not to add G, but then I said, see, you are the most experienced person. You're holding an experience of more than 3 decades. So G comes naturally out of respect, not because of the age, mind it. So my question to you, Sabeena Khanna ji, that coming from Chandigarh and a family of 3 generations of architects, I believe that architecture flows in the genes in the family. So please share your journey, the pursuit of architecture, and throw some light on the book which you have recently launched, I think 3 months ago.
Thank you, Preeti. Thank you for the gracious introduction with the G. I am indeed delighted to be here today among such an august gathering, both on stage and off stage in the audience. Happy to see loads of friends from the profession and colleagues here. And thank you so much, as always. I do spot Vartika. Thank you, Vartika, for having me here as Invade Asia yet again this year. It's always a pleasure. So Preeti, hopping on to your question and just putting a little one correction is, the book has not been published by me. The book has been written by and curated by architect Apurva Bose Datta, published by Altram Publishers. But however, it covered 10 families of architects across the country, and our family happens to feature as one of the families as part of that. But to begin with, yes, I do bring in, as a woman in design personally, I bring in over 3.5 decades of experience in architecture to the field. And I come in as the second generation of the 3 generations of architects from Chandigarh. And in fact, this year, my father started his architecture career in 1953. And this year, we as a family are actually celebrating 70 years of our architectural existence. Thank you. So that indeed, yes, is a moment of great pride for all of us. And my father started his journey, he was blessed actually to have started his journey with the greatest break in Chandigarh on the Chandigarh Capital Project. And he got to work with the likes of Pierre Genre, Jane Drew, U.E. Chaudhary. And he subsequently chose Haryana as his parent state, and he delved into government architecture. Now, government architecture is an aspect that really doesn't get recognized anywhere, at any forum, you know. None of the forum actually addresses that. And it's a huge segment of, because what he was doing was immense infrastructure projects, literally building the state of Haryana. He spearheaded the states of Haryana and Himachal for almost 2 decades as the chief architect. So the kind of works that is being done by the government architects is huge and humongous. And that is actually what got me and my brother, both the siblings, in awe of our dad. And I think that became a natural transition for both of us to take on architecture as a profession. So I'm actually currently working on penning the memoirs of the family, where the government architecture is going to feature majorly as part of the book, of to be recognized. And okay, sure. All right, so then to go ahead with what we're still imbibing all the values and the legacy that left by my father. Unfortunately, we lost him to COVID 2 years ago. And, but then I married an architect, and my brother is an architect studying, he's practicing in Canada. He has his own flourishing development and design practice. I married an architect, have been very fortunate to continue working in design from the day I got married till date, doing some amazing projects and works. And we also have now the next generation. Both are children, my daughter and my son, who have done architecture, yet have their own findings. So my daughter's dealt out after her post-graduation. She's into now real estate finance and investment, working with the largest real estate company in the world. And my son has brought in a vertical of development to our design studio. So we are now into our own development projects. So just kind of summing it, that we as three generations, I've imbibed and learned from my father, and I mentor and yet continue to learn from my children. So each one of us brings in a different perspective, yet together we are one collective strength.
Wow.
Summing
Thank you
it up.
so much, ma'am. I think your journey is the reward. And it's really humble side of yours that you say that you're learning from your children.
Undoubtedly, it's a learning every day.
That's amazing, but then I'm sure they must be learning a lot from you because you get a lot of experience to the platter. And of course, innovation and creativity is always new technology. Every second there is new innovation coming up. But truly, your journey is a reward, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Preeti.
Moving ahead to architect Deepa Agarwal. I remember we talking about the wellness and the 5 elements of Mother Nature, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, Vayu, Akash. So here I have an architect who talks about the architecture which makes peace with Mother Nature. And as we all know that during Corona, we all have struggled with difficult times. We lost our loved ones. We were caged in our own respective house. And what we wanted is a good, healthy environment and a fresh air to breathe. And when we know that nature has given us the abundance of love in terms of the sun, the oxygen, and the food we eat. So what I say, the basic necessity, roti, kapada, and makan. Architecture side, the real estate provides you the makan. So architect plays a very important role, and there is an architect who talks about the importance of making a peace, creating a healthy balance in within the technology and the nature. So Deepa, my question to you, you said that you work on the emotional and psychological side of the architecture, which reminds me of a punchline of a very famous paint company, Asian Paints, which says, "Har ghar kuch kehta hai, is ghar mein kaun rehta hai." So our house is a reflection of our own personality. Please help us understand that how did you connect it? How did this idea generated, and from where you got this inspiration to connect the emotional and psychological aspect into the architecture?
So when I was looking back at my journey, I could see my design journey. I could see a few similarities between the paintings which I do with my design journey. So when I was in college, I come from a very conservative Marwadi family. My college friend said, I'll never work. My parents wanted to get me married early in life. But destiny opened its doorways for me. I got industrial project in Nagpur. That led from one project to another. I think my first painting, that reflects how the doorways kept opening for me, one after the other. In Nagpur, like at a point of time, I started feeling as if my career would be restricted to industrial architecture. But that was the phase when I got the best structural training of my career. Under the mentorship of a very good structural engineer with whom I worked on a number of projects, be it Haldiram, Bakements, Rolling Mill, Biscuit Factory. But in all these projects, one thing I tried to incorporate was the human nature, the landscape part. In any of these industries, I tried to create a corner wherein the workers, the owners, they could go and connect themselves with the nature. Coming to Calcutta after my marriage, I got the opportunity to work with one of the most eminent architect in Kolkata. I have the honor, since he's attending the talk today, Mr. Anjan Gupta is one of the jury in the one of the sessions. So with him, I got to learn on all kind of institutional projects, be it auditoriums, animal house, laboratories, seminar halls, blood banks. That time, life became very difficult for me. With two small kids, I found it difficult to manage. I tried to go on a sabbatical, and believe me, that was the period which I don't regret, because I could give the best period of my life to the kids in their formative years. 2 years on, I tried to bounce back, and then Deepa Agarwal Architects was born. Projects started pouring in one after the other. Similar to these doorways, I found the doorways kept opening for me one after the other. So my main aim in life was not to follow the rat race. I believed in quality over quantity. And the main principle that I followed was to leave an impact. I always believe a design leaves an impact on a human psyche. So I try to connect my designs so that it leaves a deep, it creates some meaningful effect on the people residing there, whoever comes in contact with my design. I always felt architecture is not about constructing buildings. It's more of a blending of functionality with creativity, purpose with imagination, beauty with aesthetics. So whoever comes in contact with the building, he should feel he should able to relate to the structure, to the space he's residing in. His element should be there, his personality, his requirement, his philosophy should reflect in the buildings. I tried to create spaces which would connect him to nature, because I strongly believe that man is made of 5 elements of nature. And in the built environment, in a metropolitan city, he lacks to go back to nature. That we could all feel during COVID, that how badly we were longing to go back to nature. We were wanting ways to travel, to connect with nature. So that is one aspect which I feel I try to incorporate in any of my projects, be it a small flat, a big bungalow, or an industry, or an institution, to create spaces wherein he can connect with the nature.
I think, Deepa, we have been talking a lot about green building and sustainability as a fashionable term, but then actually practicing the same in reality when it comes to construction, like you said, creating a healthy balance within the nature and the construction side. That is an amazing combination. Please go on.
Yeah, so when we are working with builders, what we see that they try to cut down on the green spaces to take everything into the super built up area, and for obvious reasons you all know. So we have a builder amongst us. So I try to emphasize on that green areas in every project, wherein that's the only space what I feel each and every person can go and connect, and maybe he gets time to reflect upon himself in that small zone. Even in a small house, I try to create very small spaces wherein the person can go and have his me time over there.
That's really true. All of us have that lovely, beautiful corner in our respective house where we feel ourselves and cozy in that corner. Whether we are happy, sad, we have that corner to us, and that is only mera kona ghar ka ek, our comfort zone. Now, I want to comment on what you just mentioned, the concrete jungle and the green side of the new construction and the building. We have a builder on the panel, the youngest of all of us, but one of the dynamic real estate developer, and I'm proud to say that she is also a part of NAREDCO Mahi. We will come back to you. But coming back to the concrete jungle, you know, that's what we were discussing in the lounge, that when we want a break from our busy life, we go to hill station. We never go to the concrete jungle or the busiest side of the metropolitan. We want to go to a hill station. We want to go to some resort which is closer to the nature. We want to go to the seaside. Why? Because green is always pleasant to the eyes. And that is always peaceful and blissful. And we are all humans. We are not machines. We are made of emotions, sentiments. And we love and we find peace when we are closer to the Mother Nature. Moving ahead to Shilpi Sonar. Shilpi, I have a lot of questions in my mind, but I want to pick up the most important one, which I feel you coming from Madhya Pradesh, then your journey towards Chhattisgarh and Raipur, you have served as an ex-chairman of Triple ID Raipur Center. Now you worked in Metropolitan, now you're one of the successful leading architect in Raipur. Working with tier 2, tier 3 cities, I would like to ask you that how's it different? I mean, what is the difference you observe working in the Metropolitan and that too serving in a male-dominated industry, your experience and your journey and your learnings, please?
Thank you so much. Good evening, all of you. I come from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. As you all know, right now it is Raipur after 2000, but earlier it was Madhya Pradesh, a part of Madhya Pradesh. Well, I started my journey in the year 1988, and it's a huge long time. Setting up my ideologies across people, making them understand what interior designing is, making them aware of so many things which was absolutely no-no for them, because it was a very small place and they were not exposed. Exposure is something which is very important. Though I am from Nagpur, and I had an opportunity to work for Larsen and Toubro. I was their youngest consultant, in-house consultant, and for that I had come to Raipur. After my project was done, it was a 5-year-old project, I had two options. Either they were sending me to Tadpatri, if anybody knows where Tadpatri is, it's in Andhra Pradesh, yes, or stay put at, take up something and do something in Raipur itself, or go back to Nagpur. These were my options. I took it as a challenge, and I thought I should invade Raipur because Raipur was very virgin. But it was so tough for me because, I was having a background of a corporate sector. And when I came to Raipur and started working for them and, making them understand that I am an interior designer and this is what I can do for you, they used to just, treat me as sort of a doormat sort of thing, Like they never gave any weightage to a woman, and they always thought that ye aurat hame kya sikhayegi. So it was actually dominant. It was done by, the artisans, the craftsmen were all the big shots thekedars. So for a woman, putting up across your ideas was quite difficult. But slowly and smoothly things changed. In the year 2000, it became the capital. It became Chhattisgarh, and Raipur became the capital. We started with an airport. People started moving out. They came in touch with people from metropolitan cities. They became aware of things. And it started showing up. And then the actual challenge was, because you know what, we were invaded by people from metropolitan. And to make our position strong, we had to really fight back. So things were not that easy, things were not that smooth, but I was always, very consistent on what I want to give. And today, wherever I am, it's only because of that small, understandings which I had towards my profession and towards the people of Chhattisgarh. And of course, Chhattisgarh is doing very well, and Raipur is one of the most, the most. I think it's second or third in the top growing cities, and we are there.
Thank you so much, Shilpi. I must say, what an inspiring journey. And like you said, the male-dominated industry. So I remember when I pitched in the idea of starting the women's wing of NAREDCO, there were comments like, kitty party karna hai kya? You know
Yes.
what I mean? So we are not, the perception is such that, let's say, if 10 women are sitting in the boardroom, they are not discussing business. The perception is, okay, there's some kitty party. It's not true, and it is proven. Action speaks louder than words. Today you see the all-women panel from different age cycles and the experiences, and this is what the action is talking about, and that's what our honorable prime minister's vision is. That's why now the new bill is being passed, where we have maximum number of percentage of the seats is also given to the women leaders. Thank you, Shilpi.
Thank you.
Moving ahead to Miss Arpita Roy Luthra, very dynamic with your impressive 19 years of journey in marketing across diverse industries, starting from FMCG to retail, and now you're with the real estate, construction industry, not real estate per se, but then of course construction, working at one of the respectable brand of Everest Industries, and they have a lot of green products, they have different side of products, and heading the complete head for the marketing. What we believe that the marketing and the branding plays a very important role in promoting and building up a perception about a particular product. So would you please help us understand the revolution new strategies, what you have implemented, what you discussed, that you when you joined in the business, the new ideas you implemented, and then we would definitely want to know about your journey from FMCG to retail and to construction. Thanks.
Thanks, Preeti. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share the stage with such distinguished panelists. And thanks, Vartika, if she's around, for also giving us the opportunity. Thank you. When you actually talk about I represent Everest, which is one of the leading fiber cement manufacturers in the country. Now, if you look at the product is pretty boring. I mean, if you see that they are basically used for your wall partitions, then how do you really propagate this to a larger audience? How do you see and show the merit of this product to people who are designing? So these are the things that we're really working on. So we've created now an entire range of differentiated product through a very, very thorough consumer immersion. Right now, our drywalls are capable of providing insulation, providing fire safety, for providing sound insulation and heat insulation as well. We can use them in multiple applications in ceilings, mezzanines, cladding and facade, and to also create building envelope system. But any new product or a new material, when you introduce it to the market, it needs a lot of concept selling. So as a building materials provider, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to work with different segments of people. So we have a complete arm which actually works with the contractor community, where we are trying and teaching them the right ways of application. We are working along with architects and interior designers. We are trying to tell them that what are the merits of using this product. So because these kind of products can actually fast track your projects, because they're 4 times faster in terms of construction. You can also, not only are these safe, they're also environmental friendly. So these are absolute great products for your alternates, the traditional alternates that you've been using so far. And it's also economical and in your budget. So there is an entire team working with the influencers and trying to bring in the concept of, pushing it across in the market. Then we also work along with the consumers. There are a lot of end consumer campaigns that we are doing. We are trying to showcase that how will you benefit out of this product? Because as a consumer, like you said, that you will not be really bothered about the fact that what goes inside your wall. You leave that decision to either a contractor or you leave that decision to an architect. But as a consumer and a conscious customer, I should also know that whether this gives me the kind of benefits or not. Whether by using this kind of a wall, am I going to be able to save energy? Am I going to be being more conscious from an environmental side? So these are the kind of concepts that we are pushing across, and it's working well. And therefore, if you look at the overall category, and when I'm talking about category which actually includes the dry construction technology, I mean, this category is growing at an exponential rate. I mean, it's almost at a CAGR of 14%. So be it gypsum players or fiber cement boards or engineered wood or engineered stone, there is a lot of adoption that is happening at every level. And we're also using digital to our benefit, because that's probably one of the areas, you can really take the communication to a far wider audience.
Absolutely. In today's changing time, the new technology is not even changing at friction of minutes, it's changing at the speed of seconds. And digital media plays a very important role. I would definitely want more from you, but I got the white receipt from the organizers. But I had so much, to take out this beautiful bunch of inspiring women leaders. But I'm coming to you, Yukti, now. Having come from a distinguished real estate background, already established, very renowned and respectable brand name in the real estate sector, what are the challenges you encountered in your journey, especially with the benchmark set by your father? And additionally, what are the expectations you feel in carrying forward the legacy?
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Vartika, for this wonderful honor. And you such experienced ladies that I'm sharing this stage with that honestly I'm a bit nervous talking about my little journey that I've had. I'll still share my 2 cents. So my experience was no different than all of you sitting here. We've all faced different challenges. Shilpi ma'am just talked about how it was difficult for her to be given, a bigger weightage in terms of ye ladki hame sikhayegi, and you had your pressures of getting married and maybe not taking care of your career before you think about yourself, and I mean taking care of your families, and we all have those kinds of pressures. You're coming from a generation of architects with a lot to prove when the world is looking at you staying, and you are pioneering in a field where nobody even thinks that women will be interested कि दीवार के अंदर क्या लग रहा है and what is the kind of finishes that we're using in our products. But I believe that each of us have had such a distinct journey, yet such similar experiences, because at the end of the day, we are breaking the stereotypes and we are coming out and saying that, hey, we know something too, listen to us. It's definitely not easy to start with. It's definitely very heartbreaking, I would say. There would be days when you would want to give it up all. But I believe that, at least in my experience at work, that when you gain enough knowledge about what you're talking about, and when you gain enough knowledge about the people that you're talking to, I think that solves most of the trouble, because ultimately the stereotype is that women don't know any better. And when we just prove it that we do know almost as equal as you, or perhaps even more, the battle is already won. Then I don't think there's any struggle that is left for us to conquer that all the men do not face. Then it's just improving ourselves year on year and trying to do what's best. It's very interesting how Ms. Deepa mentioned about builders talking about concrete jungles and taking out the landscapes. I kid you not, I faced that myself. The first time I sat for a design meeting in my own organization, I also come from a marketing background, so designing is not my forte. But me being the curious child that I am, I want to enter into every field and where I get to learn a little bit. So my first few experiences, especially while planning the Gulshan Dynasty product, which me and Preeti have spoken to at length about, is we talked about super areas. We talked about कितना हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा FAR इसमें utilize कर सकते हैं. We never talked about, look at what the view we have in front of us. Let's utilize it. Let's make it a jungle. Let's make it a wellness home, because, I mean, we were just entering COVID and we all are thinking about our wellness. And And every architect that we would meet would talk, even for the landscape designs. I'm not kidding here, and forgive me for being this candid, but all the male landscape designers I've dealt with have put on so much concrete even in the middle of my landscape. And then enters a woman, like, I'm going to plant trees and they're going to be super tall and they're going to not only be for this generation, but they're going to be for the other 2 generations that are going to come. Like, that's what we need. That's what our designs need. And with women on board, I think, I'm not ashamed to very proudly admit that women have a much higher emotional quotient than men do. I mean, they might be great at other things, but this is something we're going to stay with. And like you said, roti kapda makan. I mean, roti needs to be round, and our moms make sure of that. Textiles are usually woven by women. How can we stay away from the makan bit? We have to utilize it. We have to make it functional. And we can say how practical it is and where exactly the switch should be, 2.5 feet away from the bed. Women know that better, whereas I've been in so many apartments where the switch is up high and the bed is down low, and I'm like, this is, a woman was not on the board for sure. So that, I think, is what we all add to the design, to the homes that we make, to the marketing strategies we create, and, well, the architectural buildings that we have brought to life. So yeah, this is my little bit, my experience.
Thank you so much. I think we all should be so proud that we are contributing to a sector which is one of the largest sector contributing to the Indian economy and providing employment. So we are actually contributing in building the nation, directly or indirectly. And you being in real estate, you know, as I always say that the designers, the consultants, and the workforce behind the building, even the laborers for that matter. And you see those laborers, you have more than 50% are women laborers. And at NAREDCO, we are looking at working on their skilling part as well. I have last 5 minutes and I won't be able to take all the questions, but this is an open question to the esteemed panelists. Everyone has a different success story. And I think we all are the heroes or heroines of our own life journey or a movie. As I say, this is a movie and we are playing our part. I request if you could share your success story, not related to the profession per se, but as an individual, we have our own fights, whether it's health, balancing work, life, family, because women is a born multitasker. And in the pursuit of creating that balance, somewhere she loses her health. But how she gets over that part, and Shilpi, I remember you shared one experience where you decided, no, I'll come back after this break. So it's an open question. Whosoever wants to, touch upon that, please do share. So we know grass is always green on the other side, but there is an other side where you decided you will not give up. You will come back and you bounce back and you'll do better than what you did before. Thanks.
Yeah, I was just talking about some few things we were sharing together. And I told Preeti that, people think that after 50, when you reach your hormonal imbalance period, so, they take you for granted many a times, but it is not easy for every woman to stand straight and, deliver. Because there are so many emotional upheavals that we need to balance them, and we did not show them that, to the masses, because there we are epitomes of, the best. So we need to show the best of our faces. Whatever happens behind is behind the scene. So I think I live my life for each day, every day is my story. And I do not believe what is going to happen tomorrow, or whatever has happened behind, I leave it behind. And when I stand straight there with my head high, I feel very relaxed and, super confident. So this is what I am, and this is the success of my story. Thank you.
That's actually represents the Shakti And I remember in one of my panel with C.I.A, I addressed that when we talk about Shakti, it's always the women. You know, even the gods we have in Hinduism, you see Lakshmi ji is a woman, your finance minister. Then you have Durga, your defense minister is a woman. So that's how it is. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Vartika. Thank you, Komal, and to the entire team. And thank you so much to the esteemed panelists.